going to graph linear equations.
Today we're going to graph linear equations.
Now, in order for us to graph a linear equation, we're going to first create a t-chart. Okay? All a t-chart is a big T, and on the left side you'll have x, and on the right side you'll have y. Okay? Now the instructions on this problem say find 4 solutions and then graph. The way we're going to find 4 solutions are always to write 0, 1, 2, and 3 on the left side of our t-chart, and then we have to find the 4 that go on the right. Now remember, an ordered pair that looks like this, 2, 1, this is an example of a solution. Okay? So now in this case, we got to find something that goes in over here for y by plugging in our numbers for x. Okay? So here we're going to plug in for x 0. So we'll say y equals negative 3 times 0. Now negative 3 times 0 is 0. So for y we're going to put a
0.
And that's our first solution to the equation. What is it? 0, 0. This is our first solution to the equation from right here. 0, 0. Now we're going to plug in our 1 right here for x and get negative 3 times 1 equals, what's negative 3 times 1? Negative 3. So our second point, our second solution to the equation is 1, negative 3 from right here. Okay, now our third one is going to be negative 3 times 2, which is negative 6. So our third solution is 2, negative 6. And our final solution is going to come from doing negative 3, from over here, negative 3 times 3, which is negative 9. So our final solution is 3, negative 9 as an ordered pair. So now we have 4 solutions to this equation right here, y equals negative 3x. This is our first one, second one, third one, and fourth one right here. Okay? Now write them down because we're going to go to a coordinate plane and we're going to graph them. Now our first point was 0, 0. That means we go left and right 0 and up and down 0 starting at the origin, which means our point's right here. Now remember, all the equations we do today are linear equations, which means they're going to create a straight line. Now our second point was what?
1, negative 3.
1, negative 3. So we're going to plot this point 1, negative 3 by going over 1 and down 3. Okay, and this is the point 1, negative 3. Alright, our third one was what?
2, negative 6.
2, 1, 2, down 6. And what was our last one?
3, negative 9.
3, negative 9. Now obviously it's off the screen here. Okay? But you only need 2 of these to make a graph, to connect. We got 3 of them, so we're going to connect all 3. 1, 2, and 3, and that creates a straight line. So we took the equation y equals negative 3x, and we created that graph out of it by creating a t-chart that looked like this, where the first column was x and the second was y. And what were our first 4 that we put in? 0, 1, 2, and 3. And we just chose those on our own. But now once we chose them, we plugged them into the equation for x and got our y's and plotted them on the graph. Alright, our second example has the same instructions as the first. Find 4 solutions for each equation and write them as ordered pairs. Then graph the equation. My first step is always going to be to create a t-chart. Okay? And in the first column I'll have x. And in the second column I'll have y. Okay? Now, remember for the x's, you go ahead and just choose what you want the values to be. 0, 1, 2, and 3 is what I always choose because they seem to be the easiest. That means for x we plug in what?
0.
So I'm going to have 2 times 0 minus 3. And what does that equal?
0.
No, 2 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 3 is negative 3. So I have the point 0, -3. My second one, I plug 2 times 1 minus 3, which is 2 minus 3, which equals -1. Okay? Here I've got 2 times 2 minus 3, which equals 1. Because 2 times 2 is 4, minus 3 is 1. And lastly, I got 3 times 2 minus 3. So that's 2 times 3 is 6, minus 3 is 3. So my point is 3, 3. So here's my 4 solutions, but it doesn't say leave them like this. It says write them as what?
Ordered pairs.
Ordered pairs. So my first one would be 0, -3. My third one would be 2, 1. My last one would be 3, 3. Okay, so here's my 4 ordered pairs. But I still hadn't completed the instructions. The last part of the instructions say then graph. So I have these written down. I'm going to go to my coordinate plane. I'm going to graph. Alright, so y'all help me out. What was the first point?
0, -3.
0, -3. That means go 0 left and right. Well, if it says go 0 left and right, I stay still. And then I go down 1, 2, 3. Remember, in an ordered pair, the first number tells you left and right. The second one tells you up and down. What was my second number?
1, -1.
1 what?
-1.
1, -1. What's my next one?
2, 1.
2, 1. What's my next one?
33.
3, 3. Now, does that look like it creates a line to me?
Yes.
Yes. If your answer doesn't create a line in this section, since we're graphing linear equations, you got it incorrect. So this is your graph of, what was our equation?
Y equals 2x
Y equals 2x minus 3. This right here is your graph of that. Alright, we just had the equation y equals 2x minus 3, and we graphed it. Now here's what the computer generated as the graph. Does that look similar to what we created?
Yeah.
Okay, what was our first point?
0,
0,
-3. 3. Isn't that about 0, -3 right there?
Yes.
What was the next point?
1,
1,
1.
1, -1, which is about right there. What was the next point?
2,
2,
1.
and up 1. Isn't that about right there? What's the next one?
3.
3, 3, which is about right there. So that's the equation that we had, y equals 2x minus 3, and that was the graph that we created. So we know we got it right. Alright, here's another example right here. Y minus x equals 2. Our instructions are the same. Find 4 solutions. Make them as ordered pairs. Graph. First thing we always do is we create a T-chart. Okay, in the left column I have x, in the right column I have y. Okay, now what are the 4 numbers that I'm going to plug in here? 0, 1, 2, and 3. But now we have to plug in our x's to get our y. So here for x, I'm going to plug in.
0.
So I've got y minus 0 equals 2. Well, what's y minus 0? It's just y. So what's y equal?
2.
2. So my first point is 0, 2. Now my next point, I've got y minus what? 1 equals.
2.
But now y is not by itself. How do I get it by itself?
Add 1 on both sides.
That's right. Add 1 on each side. So y equals
3.
3. So I'll write down 3. Now do you notice a pattern going on? What was our first answer?
2.
What was our next one?
3.
What do you think our next one will be? Let's see if we're right. Y minus 2 equals 2. How do I solve this?
Add 2 on both sides.
Add 2 on both sides. So y equal what?
4.
4. So it's right. We're going 2, 3, 4, and the next one will be
5.
5. So what are our 4 ordered pairs? What's our first one?
0, 2.
0, 2. What's our next one?
1, 3.
1, 3. What's our next one?
2, 4.
2, 4. What's our next one?
3, 5.
And our last one's 3, 5. But now we're not done. Although we did find 4 solutions and we did put them as ordered pairs. These are your ordered pairs right here. But now if you've got those written down, let's go and let's put them on a graph, because that's the last set of instructions to place it on a graph. Now let's use their grapher here. I'm sorry. let's go ahead and graph it on the coordinate plane. What was our first point?
0,
0 and up to, what was our next point?
1, 3,
1, 3, then what?
2, 4,
2, 4, then what?
3, 5.
3, 5. So you see 0, 2, and then you go over 1, up 3, over 2, up 4, over 3, up 5. Now what do I do with all those?
Make a line.
Make a line. Now on the end of my line, does it go forever or not?
Yes.
Yes, remember a line continues on forever, so you need arrows on the end of your line. And our equation was y minus x equals what?
2.
Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
So the equation y minus x equals 2, that's the graph of y minus x equals 2.
Today we learn how to graph linear equations.
Today we learn how to graph linear equations.
Today we learned how to graph linear equations.
Today we learned how to graph linear equations.